Hello community, going to show you how I'm using NodeRED in order to control the system of backup power built on a few of Victron and not Victron power equipment. Let me get started from the configuration of the system. So my setup is, there is a grid input which comes to energy meter from Victron VM3F75CT. After it there is a Voltronic King 5000 which has stabilization in it. It has two conversions, AC to DC and to AC. So it has perfect 230 volts AC after it. Then it's a Victron MultiRS configured with support energy meter. So they are tied together through the CAN bus and then all home appliances in my house. In order for me to fix issues with this system, I had to use NodeRED flow because I have a number of different variables in my setup that out of the box not possible to accomplish. So first thing that is a challenge, it's a connection between MultiRS and the VM energy meter. So when grid is off, in Ukraine we have this planet and unplanet cuts. When grid is off, then energy meter goes offline and then Victron MultiRS goes to the pass-through mode. That's the behavior, that's the default behavior of the inverter in order for it to be safe according to the standards. The reason why I have these two inverters is I need to have more than 10 kilowatts of power, and you know that MultiRS has only 5.2 kilowatts, and there is no yet capability to work in parallel, only in serial connection. So anytime soon this Voltronic King will be replaced with another MultiRS, but it is what it is. Still, serially connected inverters need to have some changes in order for them to work properly. Those changes are, when there is no grid, I need to go to Victron MultiRS and disable energy meter support. The reason why I have this energy meter is I have feed-in, so I'm selling excess of the solar back to grid. For that, Voltronic King configured in bypass mode for MultiRS to be able to feed in back to the grid when the grid is available. So how I accomplished this? In MultiRS there is settings energy meter enabled, which receives two options. It could be like when there is 1 sent to it, then it means that grid meter support enabled, and when it's 0 or false, it means that grid energy meter disabled, support disabled. But manually it's possible to do through the Victron Connect, easy to go and uncheck it. The only problem here is that we have from 0 to 4 power cuts daily, and manual change is boring, right? For that I created this flow, and this flow works based on two different triggers. First trigger is MultiRS state. So in MultiRS there is like 13 or 14 different types in which state inverter is. And the only state that is interested for me is pass-through. So when grid is off, VM goes offline, MultiRS comes into pass-through mode. This is what I'm reacting on. So when MultiRS sends me that it's in pass-through mode, I'm sending different variables to different controls in order for my system to behave accordingly. So when MultiRS in pass-through mode, for me it means that there is no grid. And then if there is no grid, what I need to set? I need to set that disable feed-in, and if there is no grid, then I need to set that ESS mode should be self-consumption, not keep charged. That's very important, because in this system, when there is no grid, MultiRS can start charge batteries, but it will charge from previous inverter, from electronic. They are DC coupled to the same battery. There is no reason to charge battery from battery, just waste of energy. For that reason, in the flow, I'm sending that, hey, no matter in which ESS mode you are, come to self-consumption. And this is done by reacting on trigger that MultiRS comes to pass-through. So from pass-through, the first is disable feed-in and ESS node. Second, we need to disable energy meter support, and we need to disable dynamic ESS, because if dynamic ESS had planned battery charging at this moment, it should be disabled, because there is no need to battery charge from the same battery, obviously. Also, when there is no grid, I need to lower state of charge from normal. My normal is 50%. The reason why I keep 50%, I keep like 30 kilowatt hours of battery for the dynamic ESS playground, for doing dynamic ESS algorithm. But if there is no grid, then dynamic ESS makes not that much of the sense. And I want to use all that battery up until 20% state of charge, when my system will go down by just MultiRS will switch off, based on state of charge, lowest number. So I'm putting S state of charge to 20% and send this information to MultiRS, ESS minimum state of charge limit, and Venus settings minimum discharge sock. I'm sending this information to both of those. And also, because there is no grid, I'm sending, I don't know just yet how it, I'm still experimenting with this, I'm sending that the type of the AC in now is not grid, now it's a shore power, right? I'm helping, assisting MultiRS with power from Voltronic in. That's how the system reacts on grid is off. But how it should react when the grid is on? We need to switch back. The only way I found at this point is when grid meter sends its serial number, then I treat this situation as grid is back. So when it sends the serial number, then I'm sending that enable energy meter support, enable the dynamic ESS, and enable MultiRS ESS mode to again I'm sending it as self-consumption without battery life, because this is how dynamic ESS works. It can work only when it's a self-consumption, right? Then what I put state of charge to 50%. if at the moment of grid is back, state of charge was lower than this, then MultiRS will start charging battery from grid. If it's higher, then dynamic ESS will start its own algorithm, right? And last but not the least, I also switch in AC in type to grid because grid is back. So this is how I'm reacting on grid power outage, and this system works pretty good. There are other variables that I'm using here. Is for the dynamic ESS, I'm using in dynamic ESS, okay, I switch it to English language. So in dynamic ESS, I'm using prices obtained from, like, we have day and night tariffs. So when it's a day, then the price is 4.32 hryvnias per kilowatt hour, and when it's a night, it's 50% of that price. But also we have from our grid provider, we have a schedule when they are planning stabilization power cuts because of the war in Ukraine, because of our grid system was massively damaged. We need to kind of have that schedule for some of us not having power while others using that power. And for that reason, I also created a NodeRED flow in order to automatically populate prices. It's the most complex part of this video, and let me explain you it through the NodeRED flow. So in order for me to train dynamic ESS not to use time frames when grid is planned to be off, I'm pulling information from our grid provider, from their site, where they publishing on hourly basis. They are publishing schedule for my location when they plan the system will be off, when it's going to be planned power outage. So we have 3 different states from that provider. Is 0 when grid is planned to be on, then 1 is when there is no grid, and 2 when maybe no grid. So I'm faking prices to dynamic ESS. I'm preparing for those time frames prices, for those prices to be 10 times bigger than normal. Let me show you how it looks on dynamic ESS graph. So for example, yesterday from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. or from 14:04 to 15:00, we had a planned power cut. And as you can see, during this time, the buy price set by the NodeRED flow was 60 hryvnias, which is approximately 10 times bigger. And how dynamic ESS reacts on this price? It is never planning to pull information from the grid, to pull power from the grid at this moment, because the price will be 10 times bigger than normal, right? So let's jump back to the history. Yeah, here from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. we had 2 hours of no grid, and it worked good. Dynamic ESS was not planning use of grid, and it was using battery at that moment. But you will ask me, like, how it could use, it will use battery anyway. That's correct. It will use battery anyway, because at that moment there is no grid. And this is why I need this. I want at that moment dynamic ESS do not pull any information from serially connected inverter, any grid any power from serially connected inverter, which it won't be doing anyway because I'm disabling dynamic ESS for that time frame. The biggest thing why I need it is I want dynamic ESS take into account that there is no planet grid, right? There is no grid planet for it to precharge battery to the level which will not discharge my battery lower than it should be. So technically, as you can see here on the graph, right before the planet power cut, this red zone, this is where dynamic ESS planned to charge battery, or it was keeping it on the same level, for it to not hit the lowest battery state of charge number that day. The same happens here, right? And if you go to back in the history, all the time when we had these planet power cuts, then if there is a risk that the state of charge will become lower than the target state of charge in battery sock, then dynamic ESS, based on its algorithm, starts pre-charge battery before that happens. And it works, as you can see, it works pretty good, right? So here, despite the fact that we had some sun at that moment, it was using grid to pre-charge battery to keep it on the desired level and never hit this 50% state of charge. So how I did that? In NodeRED, I just having a node flow that after retrieving information from the grid provider schedule page, I'm preparing an array of prices. And here is a base price array. So when grid is available, then we have just a normal price, right? When there is no grid, then it's, let's say, 10 times bigger. And when there is a maybe no grid, then it's just like 6 times bigger, right? So technically I'm faking these prices, but algorithm reacts accordingly to the price difference, because the main purpose of dynamic ESS is to save me money, right? To charge my batteries at the best moment when there is excess solar or when it's a night tariff. And when I am putting these prices during planet power cuts, then it's dynamic ESS never plans to charge my battery from grid during these time frames because it's too expensive, right? And as you can see, this is accomplished by pretty simple NodeRED flow, where I'm manipulating hours array and sending these prices to update dynamic ESS configuration node within NodeRED. And it automatically every half an hour runs this flow, pulls information from the grid, and then pre-configures dynamic ESS based on prices. And last but not the least, what else I was able to accomplish with NodeRED is I'm based on the state of my solar MPPTs. I have 3 of those. So I have smart MPPT RS, which has 4 trackers. I have smart MPPT low voltage 150 by 70 tracker, and I have MultiRS with 2 MPPT trackers. So what I'm doing here, I'm pulling MPPT state, and if MPPT state is voltage current limited, it means that I have excess of solar. The system needs to limit the power of solar array, of charging from solar, because there is no room where this solar should go. So what I'm doing, I'm just pulling information from my 3 MPPT devices and then sending this information to my other setup based on multi-plus 2, which is on multi-plus 2 plus pill-on-tech batteries, and forcing that system to start charging batteries to the 100%, keep batteries charged. Let me switch to another setup. So let me back to my installations, go to this system, and in this system I have also Venus OS large. I have also NodeRED there. And in this system, I'm receiving that message from the first one that there is enough PV, right? Enough PV. And when there is enough PV, that what I'm doing, I'm just validating that it's enough PV, then switch to keep battery charged. I'm sending this message to my ESS state to keep battery charged, and system starts to charge battery from the first system. Or if there is no more message that it's enough PV, that I'm sending that please use your normal ESS without battery life situation, and just use dynamic ESS in order to keep the system on desired state of charge level. And these two systems hook together through the MPPT broker, which is installed on the second machine, right? Which is installed on the second server. And this MultiRS, it pulls grid from the fast, bigger system based on Voltronic in-hell, Victron MultiRS. And this system works as a second backup of my communication channels, because it's fine if there is long no grid situation. It's fine to shut down some of the home appliances from the main system, but it's not good when there is no communication, when there is no Wi-Fi, no internet, and mobile networks or backup mobile internet is not working. Because during these hard times we need to monitor our local news providers, we need to monitor a grid system, and we need to actually do the work. Thank you so much for listening. Hopefully this was helpful, and see you next time.